Hello and welcome into the Section 109 podcast. Little throwback there. I am Breezy. This is Sir Mix-a-Lot. That is Bobble Juan, the GOAT, and one of the coaches of the women's team who debut this Friday. And this is Matthew.
What's up?
How we doing?
Good. It's been a weekend off, which has been kind of nice. Not gonna lie.
It's been weird.
Yeah. Went to finally warm enough to go to the pool and actually get in and not immediately get out.
We christened your pool.
Yeah,
for like 10 seconds.
When it was so
when I jumped
cold.
in a few weeks ago. Yes, so I cannot wait. It is basically lake season. It is essentially pool season. Today is like 84 degrees or something, which is great. It's fucking great.
No, I'm excited.
How are the vibes right now, Matthew, after a road trip in which we got 3 points that I would call a little unexpected based on how the game went, and then a game where we got absolutely thrashed on the scoreboard and finished up on a little bit of a low note. How are you feeling?
I still feel pretty good. Not gonna lie. We're on 20 points, 2 points per game after 10 games, 5 wins, 2 losses, 3 draws. We've taken the extra point 2 out of 3 times.
Let's keep that up.
Which is, we won the extra point in both draws at home. We lost on the road. Penalties are statistically crapshoots, so I expect that to pretty much even out over the course of the season. I think the biggest thing is just getting wins when you can. So, we've done a decent job of that. We've been able to convert, by and large, we've been able to convert chances into goals and get wins. And we can talk about, XG over performance and stuff like that. But, it's been a good start to the season. I think if you had asked at beginning of the season, you'd said, okay, 10 games in, you're going to be in second place
On 2 points a game.
On 2 points a game.
Signed in blood.
We would have all signed for
Prick
that
the finger,
immediately.
sign in blood.
I would have
First
taken
grade
that
style.
over an opportunity to maybe be first or last. I would have just taken it.
Absolutely.
So let's keep that in perspective.
Yes.
Although this is the first podcast we've done after our first big loss.
Yeah, because Atlanta...
on the scoreboard outside the Open Cup.
Would you argue that Atlanta... here's a hot take of the game before we actually go back to the games. Who beat us worse, Crown Legacy or Atlanta?
This is a hot take because it's actually Atlanta.
Why?
Because we didn't create anything at all against Atlanta. And while they didn't create much against us, they created a few things, including a penalty, even though it wasn't really a big chance based on how the penalty was earned. But we did absolutely nothing versus Atlanta, truly. And Crown feels bad, partly because for us, we were there. Partly because 4 goals in one half.
And just bam, bam. 4 goals on 6 shots is pretty fucking demoralizing.
Yeah. Yeah. They had that shot in the first minute, which was off target. The next 5 of their shots were on target. And there were 4 successive goals.
4 of them went in and 1 was a great save.
Which then led to the first goal. So that's obviously tough. But we've also kind of been on the other end of that in this league. The Inter Miami game, we won 6-2. We scored. We had more shots, and obviously more goals, but we scored some, probably 4 of our first 6 shots in that game. And obviously goals change games, and that creates interesting problems within the game that that you have to go solve when it happens to you.
Speaking of Inter Miami too,
but it wasn't like if I put my stats nerd hat on and I have the benefit of 6 days, it wasn't as bad as it felt, as the scoreboard looked. But there's a reason why stats nerds don't get to write the vibes, because the vibes are, what's the scoreboard say?
Also, scoreboard matters.
Goals change games.
All right, let's go back to Inter Miami 2. So starting lineup, this would be our second and, spoiler alert, third game successive after that with the same starting lineup. Rod has settled in. We talked a lot about a lot of subs. And how many subs did we make in this game?
Two.
So that's interesting. How many did we make in the
5?
5. Okay, at least we made 5 in Crown Legacy. So Jean-Antoine, right at goalkeeper, right back Milo, right center back Anatoly, left center back Duvan, and left back Joseph Perez. Keeping with the 2-man, 2 6s, 4-2-3-1 lineup, we have Jude and Andres playing side by side as 6s. Central attacking midfielder, or 10 or 8, depending on how you look at it, but really a 10. Alex McGrath, right wing Taylor McGray. Jesus, Andrew. Taylor Gray, right wing. Left wing Jesus Ibarra, and striker was Mehdi.
Yeah, this first half is one of the better halves of football we've played.
Should have been up 3-0.
Yeah. No, we didn't create.
All right, stats nerd. I don't need you to tell me what the XG was in the first half. We should have been up 3-0 in the first half on vibes.
We created some good stuff. We also did not get a couple shots off that we really should have, that I think would have been helpful for a second goal.
I mean, there's that cut back to Andres, right? That's just 4 to 6 inches out of reach of him hitting it first time. He just can't quite get there. So he hits it, and he gets to it, takes a touch, and passes it. But if he hits that first time, like maybe it's a goal. Like there's several like moments where it's just
it's just real close. And
real close.
And I think if you look at the Crown game as well, like we also had a bunch of those kind of moments where, there was some really interesting chance creation there.
I mean,
that didn't actually lead to shots.
Not as many as in Inter Miami, but yes, more than the scoreboard indicated.
There was some process going on there that's
Sure.
pretty interesting. Rodcess going on there. But like in terms of control, the first half at Inter Miami 2 was incredibly good, and we get rewarded with the goal in there.
It might be our best half. It might be our best half of the season on all sides of the ball.
Yeah, because like I think
we allowed 2 free kicks that are a little bit dangerous because of how close they are, and basically nothing else.
I mean, like think about this: Miami did not have a touch inside our 18 inside our box in the first half. Not a single one.
As it should be.
It is incredibly hard to give up goals and opportunities.
If they don't,
you can give up a shot from outside the box, right? But like, and maybe it goes in, but it is incredibly hard to give up a bunch of goals if the opposition does not get a touch in your 18. And from that side, we played incredibly well in that first half. Deservedly up with a goal. And I think, we look back at that game and we're like, oh, we probably should have had a second one and kind of really put it away. And that's something for this group to take the next step on.
Never give them hope.
Yeah. Now, second half, a little bit different of a story.
It is. Matthew, take us through the Jesus goal.
It's just a good sequence. We had put him a little bit under pressure.
13th minute,
and those first few minutes,
and we're already dominating and creating chances up until that 13th.
Right, and it's just Alex slides the ball out wide to Taylor, and Taylor kind of clips in across because we cross now, and
so good.
It kind of goes over everyone's head, but Jesus is ready for it, is able to settle it, and he just fires one.
He takes one little touch, so the ball's still in the air and bouncing, and he just hits it.
And he hits it off of the back of the outside back, and because the goalkeeper is moving in such a way
on the initial shot,
yeah, the deflection takes it just right to the space he vacates. And look, I'd rather be lucky than good.
By the way, that's not that different from the first goal in the Crown Legacy game, where
correct.
Takes a deflection. Like if you get and what it comes down to is getting shots in the box, right? If you're getting shots in the box, it's really tough for goalkeepers to react, for defenders to react. And if there is a deflection, you have a much wider goal to aim at. And you look at that goal, like you might consider a little lower percentage chance because he's kind of shielded out and it's at the near post.
He's also fairly close. Like that's not a place where anyone can recover.
Exactly.
If anything happens.
And he does such a good job of taking it down with the first touch and taking that shot off the volley that like it's really, really hard to defend. If he takes an extra touch there, which a less confident player, and Jesus is playing with a lot of confidence right now, a less confident player takes an extra touch there and the chance is gone, or at least much tougher, but he does not. He just hits that, not truly first time, but he hits that like on the bounce and just buries it.
Yeah, I mean, we finished the half against Inter Miami with 10 total shots, a big chance that we missed. But Miami's got 3 shots. They're all from outside the box. We dominated possession 62%. You love it. Like four shots inside the box in that first half as well. 6 shots outside the box. Like, it's just good stuff.
You love to see it. Okay, so come out in the second half. No subs. Take me through the Miami goal.
Yeah, it's just a giveaway. Like, it's first minute into the second half. It's just a giveaway.
What did you and I say to each other when that happened?
Classic MLS Next Pro goal. Because, like, look, like, this league is relentless. So if you switch off and a team is on the press, or you make a mistake, and mistakes happen, right? We're not going to belabor this.
No, we're not going to beat up on any player. Like, it happens. Shit happens.
And you make a mistake, though, in the press, you know, these players will take it off of you. And we've been the beneficiary of this earlier in the season. Player will take it off of you, and they'll go find a way to score that goal. And
it's a substitute, by the way.
Yeah.
With a fantastic name.
Yeah. Zeltzer Zabita.
And his first name is Ido or something similar. And like, that dude has to have some fire nicknames. Also, he probably had a terrible childhood if he was in the U.S. school system with teachers trying to pronounce his name. But it's a great finish too. He's patient. He takes the touch and like he just buries it after getting the ball. And it's a bummer. But here's the part that makes me optimistic about it. It is a giveaway, which is not good, but it's something, it's in our control, and we can get better. We didn't get forced into a mistake necessarily. We just made a mistake essentially.
Yeah.
And it's not good, but we can grow from that. We can learn from that as the process goes on, as the Rodcess goes on. We can continue to get sharper and better. And this is a team that based on Rod Underwood's history as a coach, with us watching him at Stumptown in the first years at CFC, the team won't be a hockey stick, right? It will be like this, but it's going to continue to go up as the season goes on, as we get better and more sharp and better. Guys know each other and they play better. So there's chances for us to correct this and limit basically their only big chance of the game.
Yeah.
Or what I would consider their only big chance of the game.
Big difference in the second half for Miami is 8 shots total. 6 of those were inside the box. So you've got that one, what they score on. You've got
the very last play of the game is their other big chance
at the end of the game.
Great save by Jean.
There are a couple other little moments. They hit the bar on a free kick. That's pretty dangerous.
I wouldn't call that a big. It's a great free kick.
It's a big moment, but it's not a. It's a very small percentage chance. But like, things like that can happen. Possession was 60-40 for us. Again, I think we were just a little bit less dangerous. And I think it just goes to show that you've got to take your moments when they do. Because Miami really, for that first 15, 20 minutes of the second half, flipped the field.
So there's something that happens when we come out of halftime, and it might be the start in the 45th, it might start in the 50th, it might start in the 55th, but in just about every game we've played, there's a 10 to 25 minute, depending on how long it is, stretch where the other team gets some hope. It's happened in basically every game we've played where we've been leading. And that's something that, as time goes on, we have to get better at. Like, the waves of pressure come.
And the waves of pressure are going to come in this league. Like, that's a feature. It's going to happen. I thought we had a couple more nervy moments after the goal conceded. But what I like about this team is fighting through those waves, and sometimes conceding during those waves, but fighting through those waves, and eventually we come out the other side and we can get a hold on the game again.
We did that.
That speaks to whether it's a tactical change, whether it's personnel change, or just a sense of like the guys working together to take back control. That shows there's something there, that there's another level we can go to. And I think that will pay off down the line.
I agree. So there's a couple more moments in this game. We have 2 subs, a sub in the 68th and a sub in the 85th. Jalen comes in for Jesus. I think this is a thing we've started to see very regularly, which is those 2 guys are splitting time. It's not equal split of time, but both have been very productive from that wing spot, and both are playing quite a few minutes. And then Farid, another thing we're starting to see, Farid is kind of playing that Capozzucci role where he's just coming in somewhere on the field in the last little bit to sub for whoever is is either tired or on a yellow or whatever else. And so Fareed comes in for Jude and actually plays in midfield right before.
This is Jude's on a yellow card here. So
And he comes in right before Mehdi does
magic.
And also, this is all of the first of all, it's great, it's awesome, but it's also all of the bad luck that Mehdi's had this season so far, like coming back, which is why XG matters and things like that, because it's just like it's a probability that if you get enough time, the probability usually equals itself out and evens itself out. He has had some bad luck, whether it's good saves, whatever else,
or just dragging something wide,
just like an inch wide, whatever else. And this one is all of that bad luck coming back and him getting fouled. And
I mean, he's getting ridiculously fouled, and that foul, I believe, causes him to take what was a cross and turn it into a shot that the keeper just can't get back on.
I mean, it's a cross all the way, but crosses that go in still count as shots.
Still goals, baby. And then I thought we did a good job after the goal of managing, seeing out the rest of the game. There were a couple nervy moments in there, including the one big one at the end, like you said. But overall, it was real solid.
I wouldn't even call that a nervy moment. That was just a holy
dangerous
fuck.
Dangerous opportunity. Great save.
It's an excellent turn and a great save.
That's a points. That's essentially 2 points saved right there.
Yeah. So that chip and that Mehdi. So if we were to redo, we will someday, a CFC best goals, that is a top 10 all-time CFC goal.
It's going on the list for sure.
Might even be higher than that, but it's definitely in the top 10. That is an unbelievable goal and might be the best goal scored of our professional era.
I have to think about that before I
know. I'm saying it might be. It might be. All right, Matthew, let's go to Crown Legacy. So the starting lineup is unchanged, so I won't even read through it. Let's go to the first Crown goal. This game finishes 1-4.
I think to talk about the first goal, we need to actually talk about the first shot.
Sure. So you and I watched this recap in detail before recording, which is something we used to do all the time, but we haven't been doing as much lately. But we really wanted to try to break down this game. I needed to. You already had some takes. I didn't have many takes. I consumed a lot of Modelo's at that game and had a lovely time, and then just rode the emotions. And so I wasn't sure. I couldn't put my analytical hat on. But after having watched, every single thing like 10 times, I got some takes.
So, first minute of the game, Crown's able to just create an opportunity, and they missed the target with the shot. But it's a huge warning sign that like these guys are going to be direct. They're going to come after you. They want to get one-on-one with you. They want to beat you. They want to get a shot off. And, I was that shot goes, and I was worried. I was like, okay, this is like they've come to play. This is our second game in 5 days. It should be enough time, I think, to be like healthy, recovered. But the guys also, it's the second road game in a row, and they didn't come home. So they've been on the road for a while. They've been in Charlotte for like 4 days. And so you just never know like how teams react to that. And like it's hard. Travel in lower division sports is hard. No matter who you are, these guys aren't chartering everywhere. Like it's just difficult. 6th minute, same player. I'm pretty sure it's Scardina. Gets an opportunity, beats his man, gets the shot off. Great save from Jean. Great save also produces a rebound, and Ben Bender's the first one to react. He just lashes the ball, man.
Hits it hard.
Lashes it, and it takes a deflection. And that deflection takes it in the back of the net.
From the angle of where I was standing, I thought it finished on the other side of Jean because I was like standing, with you, like, well, not with you, but a couple rows over from you.
Yeah.
Like I thought the ball goes, like the ball falls and then he hits it first time. And I'm like, shit, I thought the ball went to the other side of Jean from my angle. Like I thought he just hit into an open net. He does not hit it into an open net. He hits it through 3 guys and it takes a deflection and it misses guys' heads by like, 8 inches here and 10 inches there. Like it is a really good play. Just same thing as Jesus, hitting that ball early and when you're supposed to and putting it on frame and letting the ball do the rest, right? But it's not this giant Like it's a good chance. It's not a huge chance.
It would be a huge chance
if there wasn't 5 players in the way.
If we hadn't like swarmed on the rebound,
Exactly.
which is if you're searching for positive signs,
Yes,
is
which
that,
I am.
It's that like it wasn't a tap in. Like there was a ton of luck involved, and there was guys around. Like McGrath comes across with him. JP, who gets beat on the initial shot attempt, is running back, like sliding, trying to get back, and I think it might go off of him. I'm not sure. I think Duvan's in the vicinity trying to block the thing. Like Jean's already back up.
Duvan's I think back on the line or coming back towards the line trying to head the ball.
Or maybe I don't know. Like the point is everyone's scrambling, doing what they're supposed to do. It just takes a touch, and sometimes it goes in. Now,
Matthew, one thing we haven't talked about, who is Ben Bender?
Oh yeah, so Ben Bender is a Charlotte FC player, not a Crown player. He's on an MLS contract. By the way, a bunch of these guys are on MLS contracts, and that's fine. They're mostly playing with the second team.
He's not.
He's not. This is a first team player, but he's also been out injured for like a year. It's like a full year at this point. I don't remember if it was ACL, if it was something else, but he's been out for like a full year. And I had seen a report that he was probably going to get 45 minutes in the game. And sure enough, he got 45 minutes.
He's 23.
Yeah.
He was also the first overall selection in the 2022 MLS Super Draft.
Yeah. He's a good player. And,
he ran this game.
Yeah. So one of the things that we had always been a little bit worried about with Next Pro is that, these big MLS players are going to get dropped down, whether it's for minutes or for its rehab or whatever it is. And they're just going to like run the game. And selfishly, we're like, it's going to happen to us because we're close to the top of the table because they want to fuck us or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. In reality, it wouldn't have mattered if it was us playing that Wednesday night or if it was Stumptown AC. They resurrected him from the dead and put him out in the field in Matthews to play. It wouldn't have mattered.
Well, it was it's the Stumplex.
That's 45 minutes that Ben Bender was getting that night, no matter what.
For sure.
And I think that's important for us to remember. Number one. Number two, we've seen players of much higher stature than Ben Bender play in Next Pro this year that are getting dropped down, not because of it, just because like they need to get some minutes in their legs. This has happened twice now with Cincinnati. Yamil Assad, who
that's a wild one.
Folks might remember scoring the first goal ever for Atlanta United against us back in 2017. He got 45 minutes for FC Cincinnati too, a couple weeks after they played us, to get him ready for rejoining the first team. I watched over the weekend. My old college buddy Nick Hagland got like 65 minutes for FCC2. He's on his way back from a long-term injury, which is, by the way, hilarious. So like this thing happens. What I think is interesting is that my fears have been mostly like calmed on this, mm-hmm. because what are the odds that a first team player gets dropped down after not playing for a full solid year, his first 45 minutes of competitive football go that well? Because this isn't a guy that got dropped down, lollygagged all over the place, like just getting minutes in his legs. Like this guy clearly like wants to be back with the first team. It's a new manager. He wants to prove himself. He came out sharp. And if a big time like first team player who I think will have some minutes for Charlotte this year, if that player comes down motivated and ready to make an impact and work with the guys and like whatever, like, okay, that's going to be a problem for us on the night, but it's probably not going to be a problem for us on the season. And the fact that Ben Bender was dropped down is not why we lost that game.
Correct.
So let's get that out of the way. We just lost the game because they were better than us on the night.
Correct. Also, so he had 45 minutes, 2 goals and an assist. No, we haven't gotten there yet. But,
yeah.
He was real good.
Yeah, and Crown played exactly like the first team do.
Oh, you know where he came out of?
Maryland, right?
Philadelphia Union Academy.
That makes sense.
And then, yes, he was at Maryland.
University of Maryland. I think he played for Christos in the NPSL for a year. He's a good player.
He did. He played for them.
He's got the assist on the second goal that was scored by Dylan Singh, the crown striker.
We analyzed that one a bunch.
Like our lines are spread out.
We need to be better.
The sixes aren't behind the ball.
But it's
and also
so
that first
good.
touch, the ball in and that first touch,
it's so
and
good.
the finish are nasty.
Every bit of it.
And you just have to and by the way,
Sometimes you have
it's
to
a
tip
first
your
time
cap.
finish from outside the box.
Yeah.
Like at some point you just have to say,
Shit.
God bless you.
Yeah, that was, and that one was a real backbreaker.
Yeah.
You
Because we had a
feel-
couple moments right after the goal in this 8-minute stretch between goals. We've got a couple of moments there
where we might get back into it. Yeah,
we're a little danger adjacent. There's a good defensive play. We've got the right sequence, the right ball in, and them's the break sometimes. And then 8 minutes later, in the 22nd minute, there's a bad giveaway in the back, and that I think this one is the backbreaker because like we're the architect of our own demise, and just it's a nice defensive play, a little bit of possession, and then that little bit of possession immediately turns back over through an individual mistake. Guy just goes and creates the separation that he needs to. Early finish, good finish, nasty
very good
finish, tough
very
angle.
Good finish.
And that's how it goes. You've got essentially three not super high percentage chances that all hit the net. Because at this point in time, at the third goal, that is
22nd minute.
3, 4. That's the fifth shot of the game. 5 shots in 22 minutes.
Oh, by the way, they scored on their fourth shot too, or their sixth shot too.
Yeah, yeah. Which doesn't come, by the way, until
The 45th.
Until the 45th.
We
stoppage time.
got our feet back under us. Jesus rounded the keeper at one point, went just wide and tipped off the outside of the bar, or a post rather. We had a lot of we were better. Were we going to come back from 3 down? I don't know about that.
But 3-1 is interesting.
Yes.
And that's why
and especially if it
hitting
gets
the
to
post there hurts so much.
If it gets to 3-1 and then in the second half, if we get that Jalen goal and we don't allow that header, or we don't allow any one of those goals,
now it's 3-2, and
yeah.
in next pro anything can happen when there's a goal difference. But listen, that's what sometimes it happens.
We have done this year to some teams. Now we have not put anybody down quite this aggressively, but we have come out and punched teams in the mouth.
Yeah.
And what happened is we finally got punched in the mouth. And not only did they hit us with that initial punch, they hit us again and again and again. And while we didn't give up, we had some good moments, they were just better than us.
And also they're built to play direct. They're built to play with numbers behind the ball. They're built to frustrate us a little bit. And I don't mean in a Michigan Stars sort of way, because that's not what they do. But if you're going to give up 4 goals to a team in the first half, good luck coming back from that. That's just tough. And okay, are they big chances? Is there a big cumulative chance going on?
No,
here?
no, and no.
No. Ask me what the XG in this game is, according to Analysis Evolved.
Matthew, what is the XG in this game?
0.96 for Crown. They didn't even crest 1. 4 goals on less than a goal of XG.
Yeah, and look, that isn't us. Well, that isn't me looking at that, because I did look at that and feel a little bit better about it. That isn't me saying we played well, because we didn't.
Well, we didn't create
We didn't create enough, and we didn't limit them enough. But also, we didn't get thrashed on a 4xG game where they were just 30 shots and they got 4 goals. 4 of their first 6 went in. We weren't good enough. But it's the same thing the joke I made earlier, but it's true. I think Atlanta beat us worse than Crown did. Crown's shots just went in.
Yeah. If I told you...
I had less hope. Well, that's not true, because of all the on play, on how we played, I had more hope in this game than I did in the Atlanta game. Not that we were going to come back by the end of it, but we played better in this game than we did in the Atlanta game, where we got absolutely... they possessed the ball and they kept us from doing anything good that whole game. Crown didn't control this game. They just scored.
I would argue that Crown did control this game because they played the game on their terms and we let them play on their terms. They want us to have the ball. That's fine with them. But it's not enough to have the ball. We also have to control the tempo. We have to control the game. And that's not something that we did from the first minute on. I think second half we were there, but the game's also 4-0 at that point. It's done. Here's something interesting, and then we'll move off of XG because you could stay on it forever. And single game XG is always
Single game
weird.
XG is bullshit.
There were 6 more games this year. 6 more where our opponents had a higher XG than Crown. Which is why variance is so important. And why you don't read into things. Like it's barely acceptable to look at XG 10 games in.
Correct.
But it's also like just 10 snapshots in time. And it doesn't really tell us a ton yet.
Correct. Talk to me basically 2/3 of the way through the season, and I'll tell you where we are and where I feel good about us being XG.
Also,
I have some. You and I talked about this earlier, and I don't want to go into detail now. Maybe we will on a podcast in the future. But I'm super glad to have XG. This like Analysis Evolved is cool. Like I love their graphic and their graph, but like I have some. After you and I have gone back and looked at a few of the things, like I have some problems with how their model's working. Now, does that mean like they're completely like full of shit? No, but like. I have some questions, especially with such a small sample size, and some of the stuff that we looked at is like, boy, I don't know if I agree with that, which is why I'm really glad we have somebody in-house for us doing
and it's also
goals.
why you need multiple models out there. And this is just one we have.
Why you need more data overall, because the variance, which I think there's some variance in their model and how they're classifying things, it washes out over a long period of time. You get enough data and that trend line becomes much more reliable.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
#math.
Yeah. But I am really grateful, especially with Next Pro's data not working through Sport Tech. I'm grateful to have something.
Hey, MLS, you guys, MLS Next Pro, excuse me. I don't recognize MLS. MLS Next Pro, the real number 1 league in the world. You do good work on a lot of things. Fix your fucking data.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Like you guys have doing a lot of good shit. Please do this good too.
So second half, we make subs in the 57th minute. Jalen comes on. Farid comes on. Luis Garcia Sosa comes on.
Talk to me.
That's for Jesus, JP.
Talk me through who played where, because I think it's a little bit interesting where Farid plays.
I mean, JP playing left back in this game is subbed off. Farid comes on. Farid moves to right back. Milo goes to left back.
We haven't seen
everything else is like
we haven't seen Farid at right back yet. I think it was fun. I'm not saying I want like he's our starting right or left back. I'm just saying I thought it was interesting to see a player that I have not seen play right back, and I thought he was good.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty decent. We score our goal in the 77th minute. Comes off of right after a bit of a dangerous opportunity for Crown that goes begging.
Taylor Gray might be wanted with a warrant for child abuse in the state of North Carolina because of what he did to those children. I'm
going to point out that the 2 players that he scored against were the left back's 22 and the center back's probably
he
also 23.
Absolutely humiliated them. It was so good. He roasted them. I loved it. Yeah, it was so good, man. That was one of the things we had been missing all game, was somebody just like toast somebody, and he killed it, man. He creates that all by himself. And it's a good run from Jalen, be in the right place, but like all the hard work is done by Taylor Gray there.
Absolutely. And that takes the left back is 18 from Germany. Interesting.
Barely legal.
That's Taylor's 6th assist on the year, 5th primary. He's got a hockey assist that was elevated. That leads the league, which is cool to see. Jalen moves up to 4 goals.
How many goals? Jalen has 4. How many does Jesus have?
4, and so does Alex McGrath.
Combined
and Mehdi's down at 3
so
right
Taylor's
now.
been more or less he's come out a few times for Jesus, but like in general, Taylor's been the nailed on starter, and then you've alternated Jesus and Jalen. That's 8 goals straight up, not even counting goal contributions from one spot. It's very good.
Yeah, it's not as precise as that, but yeah.
I gave the caveat from the beginning to begin with.
It's an interesting.
If you could just combine Taylor's, Jesus's, and Jalen's, combine their overall stats and say from the wing positions we are getting X.
Yeah, because
the return from the wing position right now overall is very good,
and it's higher than last year. By the way, you've got 4 and 1 from Jalen. You've got 4 and 1 from Jesus. You've got 2 and 5 from Taylor.
You're at 2 and 7. You're at 10 and 7. from the wing positions so far in
good.
10 games. You're talking about 17 goal contributions in 10 league games from the wing. That's very fucking good.
Yeah. And I think that's clearly a feature, not a bug. And it'll be interesting to see how this develops. That game, that stretch right there, I had mentioned that, we were kind of done with short rest. That's our only like double game trip of the year. And I'm a little surprised they did it as a double game trip, because they could have come back and gone back out or whatever. But that's the last one. Everything else is like legitimate single game trips and 6 days or whatever for us.
It's also 2 games on grass, which we'll come back to.
Yeah, there's an interesting question.
Or we can do it right now, yeah.
Let's do the question now.
Let's do it.
There's an interesting question about grass versus turf.
From Victor
In the mailbag.
How does grass versus turf actually affect things?
I mean, it does. It's a completely different surface. It plays differently. It plays differently when it's wet versus when it's dry. My theory is that the surface in Fort Lauderdale was not watered terribly much in the lead up to our game. I felt like it ran super, super slow. And maybe it wasn't watered was the thing, but maybe it was just a little longer than it might normally be. I thought the ball ran super slow.
Got to keep it perfect for when Messi comes back.
And that's just part of it. It was wet. The grass was wet in Matthews at the Stumplex. I'm not saying like none of these things have anything.
When the grass
a wet grass runs a lot closer to
turf.
If the game is not played in the middle of the sweltering sun.
Correct. So I'd like to actually go to my second key takeaway here, which is about grass. We got to figure out something to do about grass. A question that you asked me when we were in Matthews was, when was the last time we played well on grass? When was the last time we got a win on grass? And it's San Diego away. It's actually Miami last week, but
the question was when we were in attendance.
Yes, correct. Actually, that is exactly the question. But we got to figure out what to do with grass. So this league, I haven't done the math, but I'm fairly certain this is correct, has more grass playing teams than in NISA. So more teams that play on grass, especially because there's more MLS stadiums. So there's more games that play on grass. We don't practice on grass generally, and we don't play on grass because we play at Finley Stadium, which is on turf. And those things are what they are. It is my belief that we have to have a good grass field to practice on. Hopefully, maybe that'll be with Montague. Maybe there'll be a practice facility someday. Maybe we'll go back to Baylor at some point. I don't know if there's actually turf or grass. I think it's grass.
When we used Baylor, it was turf.
Okay, so that doesn't help me.
They have a grass field. I don't know if we used it though. We used to use the one off of Lupton in Hickson at GPS.
That one's dead.
But that was sold off, and
that one's dead.
Yeah.
We've also I walked across the street over here and saw us practicing at Macaulay one day. I was just walking by.
That's probably for grass.
It was definitely on grass. Again, it wasn't on. It was on the grass part. So what I'm saying is, in the future, as time goes on, we have, because of our performances on grass over the last 3 years, it's my belief that we need a better plan and better setup for performing well on grass. And I think that will involve much more practicing on grass. I don't have the answer for how to do that.
It is a key takeaway. Answer. It's a practice facility. It's a practice facility that includes turf and grass.
And hopefully that happens. We don't have that yet.
Put that in the honestly, put that in the short term, the short to medium term goal.
The medium term goals. You want it to be short term, but you put that in the medium term goals. So my point being is that we have to figure something out. And that is one of my key takeaways, because we are going to be at a competitive disadvantage if we don't figure out how to perform well on grass, or perform to our standards that we perform on turf on grass.
I think that's fair.
Okay, so we've gone through where we had Jesus came off, Fareed went in at right back, Jalen goes in just normal, and then Alex McGrath came off, who was definitely spent. I asked you at one point, like, have we seen Alex McGrath in these highlights? Obviously, like, the highlights are going to be cut how the highlights are cut, but like, yeah, I think
he had a couple good moments.
He did, but I think he had also run his ass off, and he was gassed.
Yeah.
So getting Luis in there, so we get that cutback in that goal, which we talked about, and then we get an interesting sub as well in the 78th to kind of finish off this game. We get Jesse Williams and Carlos Rivas on for Milo and Mehdi. Talk me through where they played and how we played after.
So we had said that Milo went from playing right back to left back when Fareed came on. Jesse subs in for Milo. And then Fareed goes to left back and Jesse goes to right back. I really think they played like 2 minutes before they made that switch. But that's a blurry memory that we should not rely on in court. And then Carlos is on. Look, like you're down 4-1. Like it's a good opportunity to get Carlos, 10 to 15 minutes depending on stoppage time. Those are Jesse Williams' first minutes back from a little injury. So super important for him to get some more minutes there. And I don't really remember much of the game towards the end of it. But yeah, it closes out with a 4-1 loss.
Yeah. Let's just leave this game in the rearview mirror already. I think we've talked enough about it. We have about 7 minutes left till our heart out. Let's go right to the mailbag before we do key takeaways, which I've already done one of mine. Matthew, ask me the first one that we haven't talked about.
I forgot to do any of my game day rituals on Wednesday. Is this on me? Ross Singer asks. The answer is yes.
Yes, Ross. This is all your fault. So, Ross, only you know, because you're the one doing the superstitions. I am extremely stitious. I'm not going to blame it only on you because I'm sure the rest of us have our faults in not doing our game day rituals as well and whatever we didn't do or did do. But yeah, don't be risking the soccer gods. Like, do your thing. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Do your game day rituals. I am also of the superstitious belief, and this is my superstition, that at home, all of my game day rituals have superstition and matter. On the road, they have no bearing. Why? I don't know, but that's how I feel.
That is interesting. Road's also just a weird place. Like, often different places, like different things going on. I don't know.
But Ross, that is the most quintessential.
It's definitely your fault, Ross.
That is the most quintessential Section 109 podcast question of all time, and I fucking love it. Matthew, what is your go-to dish to bring to a potluck, and it must be homemade and store-bought? And that's a dick thing to do, Vic, because mine's always store-bought. And I was like, I read the first part of this question, I was like, I got this. Oh shit, it's a good question.
That is hard because my typical thing is drinks, and I don't make the drinks at home first, so. I'm going to say something aspirational because I don't have a good homemade mac and cheese and I want one.
Yeah, me too.
That's like one of the things that I want to like work on.
Same.
And do. Side note, if we went to Costco over the weekend and got, what is it? Like a chicken andouille sausage and two things. Want to do shrimp and grits.
You have a Costco membership now?
Yeah.
God, you're so domesticated.
I know. I want to do a chicken andouille sausage with shrimp and grits, and also I think Maddie and I are gonna. We only need one other ingredient, and we can do like a boil. So like shrimp, the chicken andouille sausage, corn, potatoes.
I'll drink and watch you guys do the boil.
I think it could be fun
because I'm not eating shrimp. All right, so
we'll make a little thing.
Mine is drinks. That's always what I bring as well. Usually, my extended family asks me to bring bread, but again, that's store bought. So if I had to make something, a quiche I might make and bring. If I was going to bring a casserole, I literally just watched, and I'm going to make. I have it in the stuff in the fridge to make but I haven't made it yet. A taco casserole. But yeah, I probably maybe a salad, honestly. Like I know what Ella would make. Like if we were teaming up, I know what we would make together. Like, but just me on the cooking side, I cook at home, and when I bring things to potluck, I do not. I buy them, or I help Ella make whatever she's making. So that's a great question. I don't have a go-to, and I need to figure that out.
Yeah. Ask the next one.
Is there a statistical difference in form home versus away, Matthew? This is from Ross.
I think so. 5 games home, 5 games away. So let's take this with a grain of salt for data purposes. But we're running our XG difference, opponents versus us, and then home versus away, is about a half goal different per game.
Are we better at home or on the road?
Well, we're better at home.
Remember when we were better on the road?
Yeah.
And there were questions, I will leave names nameless, but there were questions on like, were we putting too much pressure on the guys, and were they feeling too much pressure at home, and et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I think this is just different now because
It also shows that, like I said from the beginning, that was bullshit.
maybe not.
That was bullshit.
I do think there's something to be said about home is better, especially now because we're just not facing a bunker every week.
Yeah.
And like weird shit happens.
And
right?
we're also not facing all of these guys' Super Bowls like we were every time we were in NASA. Matthew, because I missed the last mailbag, Victor says, how about that Prepelita bicycle kick? Prepelitza, excuse me, bicycle kick. I apologize totally. Prepelitza.
It was nice, but like it also didn't count. Like there was a foul called.
I don't even remember it. All I remember
that's
being
the thing. Like
all I remember is being very excited and then very sad. But like I don't remember any details about it. I don't even think it made the highlights.
I don't remember if it did or not. I think it did because I don't think I remembered it in the moment, and then I saw it on the highlights later. But yeah, like there was a foul called. I'm not. It's not a thing for me.
Outside, and by the way, if it would have gone in, it would have been incredible. The bicycle kick that the dude from Aston Villa, I can't remember his name, the winger, scored on Sunday.
West Ham, Mohamed Kudus.
Yes,
to make it
that's
2-1.
the guy.
It was nasty.
I mean, listen, fuck West Ham forever, but that goal was incredible, and he is absolutely electric, and I like him.
He's fun.
All right, one last one, and then we have Matthew. We have like 2 minutes. Outside of Chicago, we largely avoid the top half of the table, says Ross, until late summer. Any concern about that?
So,
and I will add an addendum. Did the scheduling gods bless us?
Yes, I think the scheduling gods did bless us a little bit. But like, look at this. Like, we're second in the table, right? Cincinnati's third. I don't care about this points per game because that's not how it's ordered. So we're just going to go straight up. Cincinnati's third. We've already played them.
When we played Miami, they were top of the table.
And we won.
I realize we destroyed their hopes and dreams.
Miami has not won since that game.
But it doesn't matter. They were top of the table when we played them. We were like four games in or whatever.
Something interesting about the format for scheduling this year in Next Pro is that we play our divisional opponents 3 times each, and we play cross-divisionally everyone once, 2 of the teams twice. So like we've already played New York City, who's down in 9th place, but they've got like a round of 16 Open Cup game, I think tonight as of recording. We already played them. We've already played Cincinnati. So like we've not played Philadelphia, we've not played Red Bulls, we've not played Columbus or Chicago. And we will play Chicago here in a couple weeks. But those are 4 games. And we play those teams only once. So like that's just 4 games of our 28. I almost don't care, because like the season will be decided not in those 4 games. It's in the 3 games we play against Crown Legacy, the 3 games we play against Orlando, the 3 games we play against Miami and Atlanta and Carolina Core.
And we'll be 4 against Huntsville?
3 games against Huntsville as well. Oh. We have one Huntsville more game. We have 2 Atlanta games, including one this weekend. We have 2 more Carolina Core games. We've got 2 with New England. They come to town on June 1. You've got 1 against Miami left on the road in August. God bless us.
We'll be at that one.
You have 2 against what?
We'll be at that one.
Yeah, we will. We've got 2 against Toronto.
Can I give you a hot take amongst these?
2 against Orlando, both on the road. No, Orlando's here one more time too. So like, it's all about your divisional opponents. Everything else is gravy.
So the goal here for this podcast, stated goal, is top 4, get a home playoff game.
Yeah.
Make the playoffs in general.
Top 4,
get a home playoff game.
And if you get drawn, if someone in the top 3 draws you to play at their place, that's just tough luck. Because they pick your opponent in the playoffs thing. Yeah, but like I want top 4, and if we don't get a playoff game out of it, that sucks. But that's just life.
So we have. Here's my hot take out of that. I realize Atlanta, Carolina Core, and Huntsville are at the bottom of the table right now. I don't know if they're the 3 bottom, but they're pretty close. Atlanta's actually decent, and Atlanta is decent. They will go up the table some, and like we're not just beating up on the worst team. Carolina Core might be legitimately horrific, and I wish only bad things upon them. And they've also got some decent players. They're not good. I don't think they're a good team. I think they've got some decent players, and they'll probably
You got to remember, like they're at 7 games right now. All 7 of those games have been on the road. They're going to open up at home for the first time.
I'm well aware.
On this weekend.
You're ruining my hot take. And then with your facts. And then Huntsville is actually decent. They are just...
Huntsville might be, dare I say, good. But that's only if you believe that there's about to be some serious regression to the mean. And regression will use
in their case...
progression.
Yes.
Because like they have... And I might actually pull this before the next podcast.
Matthew forced me to watch the 90-15 Huntsville Atlanta in the
where they
from last week
where they dropped that result 3-2 and won the XG battle like 3-1.
Huntsville has a lot of talent. I've been saying this since the beginning of the season, and it remains to be true. If somebody can figure out how to put them on the field in a coherent manner, which, by the way, I think I could.
I don't think it's that hard.
I think it's easy, like puzzle pieces. If they get healthy, like they have several. I mean, they have Forster, whatever his first name is or last name is. I don't remember. But Forster, the giant dude who spun Anatoly around, who is hell on wheels and who I fucking love. He was unbelievable off the bench.
By the way,
2 goals.
College teammate of Logan Brown at Dayton.
Hell yeah, he's a really good player. He's an MLS player.
Yeah,
he is only not on the MLS roster because of international spots. He is fucking good.
And by the way, with Nashville's coaching change, they have not announced who they're hiring to take over. But you would think they're gonna remember Huntsville's on an interim coach too.
Can I make a funny joke?
David Moyes, and nothing ever changes.
Oh my god, that's a good joke. I was gonna joke that Nashville can now use a international spot not on their coach and have another international spot.
That's funny.
That's a good joke.
So I guess here's why I'm bringing this up, and we won't spend long here. But things in MLS end up affecting us.
Yes.
So we'll see what Nashville's coaching position is the only one open in MLS this year so far, from a midseason change. So depending on what they do with that spot, and I think the general manager Mike Jacobs gave an interview talking about they want to use their youth a little bit better. They want to take advantage of the U22 spots, things like that, a little bit better. That will have an impact on what happens to Huntsville. And as Huntsville's in our division and, our closest opponent in terms of geography, that will matter. They will be a different team come August when we play them.
That is Kennesaw United erasure.
I don't know who Kennesaw is. So that's something to watch for. And that might mean that come August, when we play them, August 20, something like that, that'll be about a month after the secondary transfer window opens for the United States. It's the same moment that we will have flexibility if we choose to if we have flexibility, we can start using it then. It'll close right around that game, around the 20th. It's about a month long period. So it's possible that a guy like Forster might be in MLS by then. And we might be dealing with a different set of forwards.
I mean, your boy Woobens hasn't even played yet.
Correct. He's not even been in the...
And he's another guy on an MLS deal.
Right. He's on an MLS deal, but permanently parked for the season in Huntsville. Forster, same deal, except they can recall him from a loan if they get an international spot. And
Forster's already played for Nashville, the big Nashville, not just for Nashville too, this season. By the way, during those highlights, he called them Nashville and not Huntsville, and that was
funny.
Chef's kiss.
So it'll be interesting to see, and if you're a regression guy like I am, it's good that we've already played them twice.
You're a regressive guy.
I am totally, because if they're going to regress to the mean, that means they're going to get better and start getting actual goals and actual results.
Yes. So back to my hot take. My whole point is I do think we've been a little lucky with the scheduling so far overall, and maybe this season will turn out that we got a favorable quote unquote draw on the scheduling front. I just don't think. I think if you look at the table, it feels more like we've played a bunch of terrible teams. I think we've played some decent teams. I think some of the teams we've played are better than they appear, and then we've just done the job. And I think. Look, we have to continue to get better as the season goes on because these teams and these young players are going to get better.
Yeah.
But we can still grow and we can still make noise. And we are still right in the hunt, not just the playoff hunt, but the win MLS Next Pro hunt as long as we keep playing and winning and getting those 2 points per game.
Yeah. Think about the top half of the table. I'm going to take top 7 and then bottom 8 because top 7 is on Crown and Chicago are both around 14 points. So like, let's just at 6 and 7. So it just makes it easy. You've got 5 teams in the North. You got 2 teams in the South. Those Northern teams are going to play each other each 3 times. So it stands to reason that like the way this schedule has quirked at this 10-game look now, 10 games for us, is probably just a scheduling quirk and a results quirk, and that things will materialize out in time. I expect Crown Legacy to rise in the standings. They started off the year pretty slow. They've won 3 of 4. Like they're clearly, they're clearly something else now. I expect Orlando to rise in the standings. I think they're pretty decent.
Orlando is good.
And as the Columbuses and Red Bulls and Cincinnati's and Philadelphia's of the world beat up on each other a little bit, I would expect that some of these Southern Division teams will move up, and I expect us to stay there. But it's by no means a given, because nothing in this league is a given.
You can say that again. All right, Matthew, let's go straight into our I'll do mine real quick first. You're ringing.
I am ringing.
Do you need to get that?
No, we're fine.
All right. So my number one, which has kind of been my number one for a little bit, and it just continues to be, but not to be redundant, and it is redundant, but like trust the Rodcess. Look, we got to be better. We need to be better. We weren't good enough. But this is part of the process. Like we're going to lose some games, and we're going to get beat in some games. And this one we got soundly beaten. The goal is still just top 4. Not just top 4, sorry. The goal is still top 4, and we are still very much on pace for that. It's not just to be top of the table. I want to finish top of the table, but like top 4. We're on pace for that. We're continuing to, I would say, exceed expectations for where I thought we might be, where I thought we would be in the first half of the season. Look, we're barely 10 games in. It's a third of the way through the season, or just barely a third of the way through the season. Calma, paciencia. Let's trust the Rodcess. We're going to be a different team. And my third one is, I already did my second one, is that was our first big drop down we've seen of any kind. We've seen some drop downs, but that was the first, I would say, like game-changing good one. He showed there's a clear jump in quality for a real, quote-unquote, MLS player, and how a real MLS player, like a big-time MLS player, can change a game if the drop down happens and that guy is locked in. There's a lot of ifs there. We haven't seen it much. I hope we don't see it going forward very much. You mentioned it. We have seen it less than I would have expected, and I hope we continue to not see it. But it is an interesting point. It is something to keep an eye on, and it is something for us to, just, I don't know, keep an eye on going forward. Like how many more drop downs do we see, and what kind of impact do they have? Yeah,
and like true drop downs, not just you're on an MLS contract.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of those
that
are like just regularly playing.
This is a first team player who's playing a rehab assignment here.
Yeah.
This is not a player that happens to be on a first team contract but is playing in MLS Next Pro against everybody. There's just a big difference there.
Yeah,
Matthew,
absolutely.
Give me your 3 key takeaways.
So I said this, if you were in Matthews, you heard me, it's very possible you heard me say this after the game. And this is a basketball analogy, but I still think it applies. In a 30-game season, I realize our season's 28 games. Don't yell at me.
This is a good analogy. I did hear this.
In a 30-game season, there are 5 games where you're going to hit all your shots. Like you just shoot lights out. There's 5 games where you couldn't buy a basket. You couldn't buy one at the market. Like that's just life. Nothing's going in. The rim is closed. It's the middle 20 games where you really learn who you are. Like where you perform in the grind, game in, game out. That's who you are. It is it is one of the Crown Legacy game is just one of those games. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those 5 games. It doesn't go your way. In this case, it wasn't necessarily that like the rim was closed and all of our shots didn't go in. We didn't create a lot of shots.
It was the opposite. The rim was open for them.
The rim was open for them, and like that's just life. It happens, and if you dwell on that kind of game, you can lose sight of like just what a statistical anomaly getting 4 goals scored on you in under an XG, under 1 XG kind of day is, and I think that's important because they're going to be games like this, and we've had a game like that. On the good side, it was Inter Miami the first time we played them. We won 6-2. It's just one of those things. So thanks for the memory, Stumptown. We move on. My second key takeaway: control, control, control. We are not going to be a team that will succeed, will win games, score points when the game is just wild and open.
Cosign.
If you
100%.
watch Next Pro regularly on Apple TV, if you watch the games on YouTube, if you watch the 90 and 15 recaps on YouTube, Next Pro is a wild league. It can be very open. It can be very up and down. Think about the average age being around 21 now. And that's with like the help of us. We bring the age up a little bit.
And a bunch of 30-year-old goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Across the league.
So it's a lot of young players. There's energy. There's a desire to like just be relentless and keep the pressure up. And whether you're down 3 goals or up 1, it doesn't matter. You're go, go, go. That is not a recipe for our success. Not the way this team is built. Not this year. We have to be able to establish control. And it's not just possession. It's controlling the tempo. Mm-hmm. It's controlling how we attack. It's about controlling how the opposition attacks us. And if we do that, and we've done it very well this season at times, if we do that, we're likely going to be able to come out on top. And if we don't do that, we leave ourselves vulnerable to our opposition being able to take advantage of us. And in times and places where we don't want them to.
100%.
Yeah. Number 3. Breezy. The men's team is not the only ones in season anymore.
Well, almost in season.
No, they're practicing. We're fully in now. Women's team starts this Friday night versus Nashville. That's a massive game, just like last year's was a massive game. You can't be the best unless you beat the best, and until someone beats Nashville, they're the best. Especially now that Charlotte Eagles is out of our division,
and we want to knock them off their fucking perch.
We want to knock them off. So this Friday night is the Nashville game. This Wednesday night is the first Chalk Talk for the women.
Yes, it is.
Tommy Salsa will be there. The women's jersey reveal happens. That's 6 to 8 at the Moxie.
Cannot wait.
And look, we're going to be doing a little double duty now for this summer, for these next 8 weeks or so. So, the goal for the women's team, make the playoffs. Like, get there, make a run if you can. Like, but let's make the playoffs. Let's give ourselves a chance this year.
I'm not making any predictions right now.
No.
I got to think through those.
I don't know enough about the team yet.
Yeah, CFC, give me the rest of my damn roster.
It's going to be, hopefully we learn some stuff at the Chalk Talk, and then, we'll see what it's like. It's old school, man. We're going back to the days where we learned things at the last minute. So yeah, that's all I got. That's not a men's takeaway, but like it's women's team time now.
Yes, it is. Well. Yes, it is. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, throw a like. If you're not subscribed, it would mean a lot if you would hit subscribe. Throw us a comment in there if you got questions, and we will catch up with you at the jersey reveal on Wednesday, and then Friday and Saturday at the games. Peace.